Welcome to my channel. Let's take a closer look at a moment that's sparking serious debate on Capitol Hill, a hearing where Senator Rand Paul quoted Ayn Rand in defense of Starbucks, and Senator Bernie Sanders challenged the very idea of unchecked capitalism. Beyond the soundbites, this story reveals a deeper question about what fairness means in America today, for workers, businesses, and the future of our economy. Stay with us.
I defer to Senator Paul.
Ayn Rand's Howard Roark points out the ingratitude that man has for the entrepreneur, the creator. Thousands of years ago, the first man discovered how to make fire. He was probably burnt at the stake he taught the others to light. But he left them a gift that had not been conceived, and he lifted darkness from the face of the earth. Now, Starbucks didn't exactly discover fire, but Starbucks did somehow, somewhere, discover in the depths of man's soul that he would pay as much for a double mocha latte as he once did for a week's worth of coffee. My wife Kelly and I tried to get my grandparents some fancy coffee once, and my grandfather, a survivor of the Depression, informed us in no uncertain terms that he drank Maxwell House, $3.99 for a week's worth of coffee. The Pauls, although German, often miss the zeitgeist of the times, and so while we continue to purchase Maxwell House, others, our contemporaries, bought Starbucks stock and did much better than we did. Who knew people would pay $6 for a cup of coffee? But I digress. Convincing the public to buy very expensive coffee is not the discovery of fire, but still it deserves respect. Instead, Congress convenes today not to praise Starbucks, but to bury them. The hearing today is convened to attack a private company for its success, when its success has benefited both customers and its employees alike. We've heard of the average wages, over $17. We've heard of the 401k plans. We've heard of the parental leave, even for part-time employees. Starbucks giving away tens of millions of dollars each year. They have 100% tuition and fee for a bachelor's degree. Maybe it doesn't sound like too bad a place to work. Starbucks is among the most charitable companies in the country. Since 2016, they've had a program to give away unused food to feed over 5 million hungry families. Starbucks didn't do all this under orders from a government bureau. They did it because capitalism works. We have more charity when we have more money, when we have more success, when we have more profit. Nobody buys $6 coffee in impoverished nations. We're an extraordinarily rich nation. Marion Tupy and Gail Pooley wrote a book called Superabundance. They say we live in an era of superabundance. Starbucks can only exist in an era of superabundance. The average calorie count since when I was born was about 2,800. It's gone up to 3,700. Many would argue you have too much food. You can buy 7 times as much food for the same amount of worker hours. If you measure stuff in time prices, how many hours of the average worker it takes to buy something, it's extraordinary how wealthy we are. Even in inflation-adjusted terms, from 1960 to today, 1950 to today, the average income, inflation-adjusted, is up 4-fold. These are all extraordinary tales. This is also an extraordinary tale of a company that started out of nothing and employs tens of thousands of people, all making great wages. And we're here to say as if this is like, Charles Dickens. I mean, we think it's 1812. I mean, it's an amazing success story we live in, the era of superabundance. In 1820, 96% of people lived on less than $2 a day. Adjusted for inflation, you know how much of the world lives that way? Less than 10%. Trade, capitalism, profit. People all the time are talking about, we want sustainable this and sustainable that. You know what's sustainable? Capitalism and profit and employment. You want to put all the Starbucks workers in the government dole? You want to have a government coffee company? What are we talking about here? If you don't want their coffee, be like my family and buy Maxwell House. But for goodness sakes, don't deride one of the great American success stories. This is not who we are. We are better than this. If the goal is to destroy the goose that laid the golden egg, then by all means, this hearing is a good beginning. For me, I see the fabulous success of Starbucks, and I understand that the luxury to spend an extraordinary amount of money for a cup of coffee is a testament to capitalism. It's a testament to the fact that we have enough money that we can do that. When I walk in Starbucks, I don't see billionaires buying coffee. I see everyone from top to bottom in there paying for the coffee because they've decided the quality is worth it. But I don't want to be part of any witch hunt that vilifies any American business. So count me out. Count me as one who is ecstatic that Starbucks is an American success story, and I'll have no part in trashing their success.
Thank you. Senator Hickenlooper, you have to preside soon, so you ask the first questions.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Ranking Member. Mr. Schultz, I appreciate you coming before us, and I realize
What Senator Rand Paul just delivered was a polished defense of unregulated capitalism, a sermon to the genius of the individual entrepreneur, wrapped in a quote from Ayn Rand and seasoned with humor about Starbucks lattes. It sounds inspiring on the surface. Celebrate success, leave business alone, let the market reward hard work. But what's missing from that picture, and what this hearing was really about, is the human cost behind the profits, the people whose daily labor turns that success story into reality. Let's take Starbucks as the case in point. Senator Paul calls it one of the great American success stories, and in some ways, he's right. It's a company that grew from a single store in Seattle to more than 30,000 worldwide. It offers benefits many service industry workers never see: tuition help, parental leave, a 401k. But if we stop the story there, we're pretending the debate is over. For years, baristas have testified that they want something simple, basic respect on the job, and a voice in how their stores are run. Hundreds of stores have voted to unionize, and when workers tried to organize, management fought back hard. The National Labor Relations Board has issued dozens of complaints alleging illegal retaliation and store closures aimed at stopping union efforts. That's not myth or ideology, that's public record. So when Democrats like Senator Sanders hold a hearing, they're not attacking prosperity. They're asking a moral question. If a corporation can afford billion-dollar stock buybacks and CEO bonuses, why can't it afford to honor workers' right to organize? Why can't the people who make the coffee share fairly in the wealth they help create? Senator Paul's argument that capitalism produces charity sounds comforting, but charity is a bandage. Fairness is the cure. A donation to a food bank is welcome, but it doesn't change the fact that too many people working full-time still rely on that food bank. The goal isn't to shame success, it's to redefine it. True success in a democracy means the economy works for everyone, not just for shareholders and executives. That's why hearings like this exist, to keep power accountable when markets alone won't. Capitalism absolutely can coexist with compassion and regulation. The New Deal, the GI Bill, Medicare, the minimum wage, all were born from the same argument we're hearing today. Each time, someone said government had no business interfering. Each time, America became stronger because we chose fairness over indifference. So rather than dismiss these hearings as witch hunts, we should see them as part of a long national conversation. How do we balance innovation with justice? How do we ensure that the person behind the counter has the same shot at dignity as the person ringing the opening bell on Wall Street? That's not anti-business. That's the unfinished work of democracy. If you believe workers deserve a seat at the table, if you believe prosperity should lift communities, not just stock prices, stay engaged. Support policies that protect collective bargaining and raise wages. Read about the labor movement. Talk to the people who make your coffee, your clothes, your deliveries. Because understanding where value really comes from is the first step toward building an economy that values everyone. That's the lesson buried underneath all the rhetoric today. It isn't about tearing down Starbucks or celebrating Ayn Rand. It's about deciding what kind of America we want to build. One where success trickles down to the few, or one where opportunity flows to the many.